The new Druid troop will transform your attacks in Clash of Clans. It unlocks at Town Hall 14 once you upgrade your Dark Barracks to level 11. A helpful healer who turns into a very angry bear. I'll be comparing it alongside the healer as we explain the mechanics before giving you strategy. Unlocking this troop will cost you 14 million elixir and 13 days. That is not including any of the gold pass perks. Being a Dark Elixir troop, that is the resource it will cost to upgrade. You can go to level 2 at Town Hall 14, level 3 then at Town Hall 15, and the maximum of level 4 at Town Hall 16. Each level improves the healing of the Druid alongside the hit points, and then the hit points and the DPS of the bear that it transforms into. It does not increase the amount of time that the troop is healing. At every level, the initial form in that of the Druid will heal for 30 seconds. It is important that we compare some stats first before moving to mechanics. For example, we have to compare this with the healer itself. This only has a healing of 80 and a hero heal of 68, whereas the Druid heals 140 to everything. So versus the healer, you're getting the most effectiveness using this with heroes, but it will cost you 2 extra housing space. It's important to keep in mind that the healing impact from a healer diminishes the more healers that you use. This also applies to the Druid. It's really hard to show, but each subsequent Druid will heal less than the one before. To stop you bypassing this and using a couple of each, the healing does not stack, so the Druid takes priority with higher healing. You therefore wouldn't want to use the healer and the Druid together. There is another massive benefit of the Druid over the healer, but it is important you know that the Druid can only heal up to 5 units, whereas the healer can heal much more than that should they be standing at the same position. The main thing to keep in mind is that the Druid can heal both ground and air troops. Whilst it is only for that 30-second period, the healer can only heal ground-based troops. This is obviously a massive benefit if you are an air attacker, but better yet, the healing can bounce between both ground and air troops. And when I say bounce, check this out. The troops do not have to be pretty much standing on top of each other like they do with a healer who deals splash healing. The Druid will bounce between up to 5 units, as long as they are no more than roughly 3 tiles apart. The one exception to that is siege machines. So you can see here that the healing does bounce between the ground troop, the air troop, and even the hero, but it will not be applied to siege machines. This could be massive when it comes to dragon attacks, since you don't always place them right on top of each other, so the chain would move through the troops. The thing to always keep in mind is that the Druid does only have that 30-second window of healing, and that is if it does not take damage. Should you be using this with the Archer Queen and her invisibility vial goes off, the defenses could lock onto the Druid, and if it loses all of its health, it will instantly transform into the bear. So whilst most of the time they should be protected because they stand behind your troops just like the healers, there is always that risk that you have to watch out for. Obviously, should you be wishing to do a queen charge for longer than 30 seconds, you might opt to use the healers, but you can actually just send in the Druids a little bit more surgically as well, as you'll see once we get to strategy. The other comparison I would mention between the healer and the Druid is that the movement speed of the healer is less than that of the Druid. So if your hero or troop has a long distance to travel, the healer can end up falling behind that troop, depending on what it is, and therefore you're not getting the healing benefit until the healer catches up. The Druid, that doesn't tend to happen. It should keep up with the troops, so you can keep them healed up during that time. Whilst I have explained in depth the healing mechanic, I do feel that's more complicated, so that's why I did so. But once the Druid transforms into the bear, whether it be from losing its health or the 30 seconds expiring, it will run out in front. Since it is defense targeting, it has a good amount of hit points and also deals a fair amount of damage, to be honest. The main drawback is that it cannot jump over walls, so it does sometimes get locked in compartments, but it's good to use as a tank. For example, if you are using it alongside your queen to keep her healed up initially, whilst once it expires, you're not then getting healing, you are still absorbing damage away from your archer queen, so it does have a dual purpose in that regard. If you wanted a reference point to compare to, the amount of hit points for the bear is roughly the same as an ice golem, and the damage per second is comparable to a baby dragon, just so you get an idea as to how much it can help you once it has transformed. What about the druid in the defending clan castle? I was interested to try this out due to its unique mechanics, but in reality, even though it can heal enemy heroes in that area, you tend to hit this area and the CoC troops with quite a lot of force during your attack, so they still go down incredibly quick. And even though they shapeshift to the bear, which has similar hit points to an ice golem, you don't then get the freezing effect, so you'd just be better sticking with the ice golems on defense. So it's interesting, but I don't think it's going to be good. So how do you best use it? I think the best use case will be alongside heroes, and specifically in a hero dive portion of the attack. Because you're not doing a full queen charge through the base, you only need that little bit of support, and the 30 seconds is ideal for that. Not to mention, since it is a ground-based healer, you don't have to worry about an air defense sideswiping your healers or Coco loons. The druid will be protected and just move into that section of the base alongside your king or queen. Now, you do have to tailor things to what it is you're trying to take out. Should there be a single target inferno, you might be better off using an ice golem to tank and then freeze the single. Otherwise, the druid will be behind your king. He's still going to get locked on by that. So you do have to tailor things to the base, but in general, this is a fantastic use case. You can also use this behind spam style strategies, and there's a couple in specific that I would recommend. Whilst it sounds cool because it's a healer that can heal air troops, because it is ground based, if you're using a dragon army, then it is going to be susceptible to any ground based defenses and might go down incredibly fast. Even though it can jump over walls in its first form, once it then transforms to a bear, it's stuck inside that compartment and pretty much wasted. So I would focus using this on ground-based strategies. Whilst you could use one or two of them with any ground-based smash attack, to be honest, because the bear does not jump over walls, you really don't want to use it on armies such as hybrid, whereby the miners burrow under the walls, the hog riders jump over, and the bears get left behind. That means the recently nerfed root riders could be an ideal strategy to use this alongside, since the root riders open up the walls. Whether it's a queen charge root rider attack or a mass root rider attack, you can get the initial healing, the druid is well protected, and then once it transforms into a bear, it can move forward and help to take down the defenses, increasing the DPS, which was nerfed from the root rider. Keep in mind though that a Valkyrie still deals more damage per second and is half the housing space, so you're not going to want to take more than 1 or 2 druids just to keep you healed up initially, because remember, the bouncing can also move between the different root riders should you place them in a line. You don't get that benefit with healers when they're just focusing their fire on that one location. Let me know what you think of the Druid troop though, and if you do want to see Sneak Peek 1 where we broke down the Apprentice Builder and the other Quality of Life editions, I have that video linked on your screen. Enjoy the rest of your day.